What is up, everybody? My name is Nick P. Store. Welcome back to my channel. And in this video, I got one heck of a video for you guys. In this video, I will be doing a little mini documentary or something like that. But in this video, we will be looking at the month of April 2011, because it still stuns me. This month still stuns me to this day, even though it happened, over a decade ago. Because in this month of April 2011, there were over 700 tornadoes that were reported in the U.S., which is extraordinary because, 700 confirmed tornadoes. It just blows my mind. All these storm systems produce this many tornadoes, and the damage that they cause, wow, it just blows my mind. I mean, May 2011 was just as bad, but April was, still the craziest month in the whole year, but May was almost just as bad. But in this video, we'll be focusing I can't talk. We'll be focusing specifically on the month of April 2011, and we'll be focusing on the tornadoes that I think that play the most significant role. I mean, I don't want to say it like that, but that played a part that caused the most devastation, destruction, and all of that. But we will be getting into this part of the video right now. But starting off nice and hot is the April, on the day of April 16th, 2000. I mean, technically it's April 14th through the 16th, but I want to focus on the 16th specifically, because on that day alone, on the 26th, or not the 26th, on the 16th, 25 tornadoes touched down in the state of North Carolina. But the one that I will be focusing on in particular today, or in this video, is the Rollin to Sanford EF3. Because this whole outbreak and the much of other tornadoes I will be covering that occur in outbreaks deserve their own videos. So I just want to, briefly talk about them. I don't want to, make an hour-long video about them and break them down. I want to briefly talk about them because they deserve their own separate video, so that way I can deeply discuss and explain them to you guys. But to make a long story short, the tornado that was the craziest to me on this day was the Rollin to Sanford, North Carolina EF3 tornado, one that damaged Delos and was on the ground for over 30 miles. For those of you who don't know what EF3 or EF means, or for that matter, you probably have heard people saying that, Fujita scale or the F scale, but actually it's not actually called you can still call it that, but it's actually called the Enhanced Fujita scale now, because Dr. Ted Fujita created the Fujita scale, and in 2007 it was changed to the Enhanced Fujita scale because, the wind estimates and everything, were deemed by meteorologists as being way too high for the tornadoes that were previously stated on the Fujita scale. But in 2007, it was changed to the Enhanced Fujita scale, and I'll post a picture on the screen right now of the Enhanced Fujita scale, so that way whenever I say EF or something for that matter, you can have an idea of what I'm talking about. But this tornado was crazy. It just blows my mind that this tornado, and one of the craziest things this tornado did was, well, at least in my mind, it's the craziest thing that happened whenever it was on the ground, was it damaged a Lowe's. There were actually many people crammed into that Lowe's that had to go into a safety place. I would like to assume the restroom or somewhere like that to put as many walls between them and the outside, as they say. And, they just went there to get a few things, and next thing you know, a tornado comes out of nowhere, and it's crazy. It's just crazy. Just like that, your life can change just like that. You can go from having a normal day just to boom, there's a tornado off on the horizon, just coming straight at you. It blows my mind. But just imagine that. You're going into a Lowe's to get a few things with your family, and you see a tornado coming straight towards you, and then you got to go to the safe room, and then whenever you come back out, you don't see a roof. Like, half of the building is collapsed. There's no roof on some parts of the building. It's just rain just coming in. All you see is a sky. It's crazy. Just to think that those people had to see something like that. But here are some pictures taken by the locals. And Here's the damage that was caused to that Lowe's. But that was the craziest thing. Or not the craziest thing, but the craziest tornado rather that struck on that day. But this is just, I hate to say it, it only gets worse from here. Because some of these tornadoes, they might not have killed people, they caused a lot of destruction to a lot bigger cities. There's the next one I'm getting ready to show you. It didn't kill as much people as this twister did, but it destroyed an airport in St. Louis. And for all of you who live in St. Louis and around Maryland Heights, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the April 22nd, 2011 EF4 tornado that occurred late at night. You know, I mean, it occurred about after dark. You know, this tornado touched down, and it destroyed the airport, flipped a few planes over, and busted out a lot of the windows that were at the airport. I actually have a story about that. I was bowling with my cousin the night this happened, and as soon as I left, whenever I got done blowing with my cousin Devin, I was on my way home, and I just seen strike after strike after strike after strike of lightning. And I'm thinking, there's something wrong here. Just, you can just tell something's wrong in the atmosphere. And then I get home and I see a tornado has impacted St. Louis. And the tornado was an EF4. There were people crammed at St. Louis International Airport as this tornado bared down on them. Some people, have been waiting, hours to go wherever they needed to go. And then just like in the people who were at Lowe's, this tornado just out of nowhere just flips their life upside down, man. It's just, and here are some of the pictures from St. Louis Lambert International Airport where this EF4 struck at. The tornado that hit that airport was an F4. That's crazy. And people somehow still believe that tornadoes do not hit cities. They don't believe that living in the city somehow protects them, that there's some kind of barrier blocking them, which is a lie. Because within not even a 2-week period, an F3 tornado hit Rowland, an F4 tornado destroyed or temporarily shut down the airport in St. Louis. And thank God that F4 didn't kill nobody, but still, all the damage it caused is still minuscule to what I'm going to be telling you about next. Because you know what I'm going to be talking about next. All my people who know the month of April 2011, you know what I'm going to be talking about next. April 26th through the 28th, specifically the 27th. But where do I begin on April 27th, 2011? There's 4 F5s that struck in a single day. There's the F4 tornado that hit Tuscaloosa. There's the F5. There's 4 F5s that I'm going to be covering in this video today, because 4 F5s in one day, that's just crazy, bro. That's crazy. And the F5 I'm going to be covering today, it's not really, this tornado should be more studied more than what it is, because most people don't study, this tornado right here of the outbreak, but I think it should be studied more, and people should look at it because of the damage it caused. This F5 was so powerful that it ground scoured the ground really badly. Just look at these photos yourself and tell me that this tornado wasn't really powerful. But people thought that there's no way people were thinking there was no way the tornado could have caused it. There were some people who thought that ground scouring was already there. Or not ground scouring, but that was already there. But that tornado caused that ground scouring right there. That's how powerful this twister was. And it just blows my mind that it scarred the ground that bad. But like I said, I'm going to briefly talk about this twister right here, because I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm going to make a whole video on it. You know what I mean? I just want to get y'all's thoughts about that. What do you think of that ground scouring right there? That's crazy, ain't it, that this tornado got so powerful that it did that? But now, this tornado, I'm telling you, like I told y'all, it only gets worse. Some of these tornadoes might have killed only a few people, maybe a dozen, but this Hackleburg EF5 that was on the ground for over 100 miles. This tornado was the deadliest tornado of the outbreak. This tornado killed, I think it killed 72 people along its like 120-mile or around that so track. And this F5 was so powerful. I just can't believe it stayed on the ground for that long. That's crazy. Over 120 miles of destruction. And it would as it went toward the latter periods of its life, it weakened to EF4. But here's some of the pictures of the tornado, and here's some of the pictures of the damage it caused to Hackleburg and Phil Campbell. Dude, I just cannot believe that. That square box you see right there in that last photo, where the photo before, that was a house that was picked up and thrown. There's nothing left. That's what an EF5 can do to your house. So I do not recommend taking shelter. If you have an upstairs, take shelter in a basement if you have one, because your chances of surviving an EF5 above ground, even an F4, is minimal, very minimal. But it's crazy that this happened to these people. The damage that caused, and just think, this thing was on the ground for over 100 miles, so it hit this over 100 miles worth of this was caused. And the tornado in that one photo I showed you where it's like greenish, it was rain wrapped. So people didn't even know it was coming. It was completely wrapped in rain. They didn't even know the tornado was coming toward them. They just seemed like a huge, like greenish, blackish wall. And behind that was an F5. And it killed over 70 people too. That's crazy. And it was on the ground for over, like I said, it was on the ground for over 100 miles. That's crazy to think about. But we're getting ready to move on to the next F5 of this outbreak, which is the Smithville, Mississippi EF5. And then, like I said, these tornadoes on this outbreak were a different kind of animal. You could be underground taking your safety precautions. I shouldn't have said what I said a moment ago. You should be underground taking your safety precautions, but, well, you should. But on this outbreak, if you were underground taking your safety precautions and you were in the path of these F5s, then I hate to say it, you still weren't safe. These things were that powerful. I think in either Smithville or the one I'm getting ready to tell you about, or the Hackleburg and Phil Campbell EF5, a truck was picked up and thrown and left a dent in the water tower. I think it's still there to this very day. It just blows my mind, bro. This is just a weird. Tornadoes are such a crazy and weird phenomenon that this just can happen to all of us, man. But now we move on to another violent tornado, the freaking Smithville, Mississippi EF5. But this tornado actually began from a separate storm that went, well, actually not a separate storm, it began from the same storm. And after the tornado that was produced from this other storm dissipated, another one hit the ground, and it was recorded as one of the most violent tornadoes in all of history. The storm, I think it produced an F3 before this, but then the storm recycled and produced and this Smithville F5. And as you saw, the damage by this thing, and this tornado is regarded as one of the most violent. It had one of the most violent cores, like the inside of it, in history. And I'm going to be showing you pictures of this right now. Also, before I do that, I made a mistake a moment ago telling you that it was either Hackleburg or Phil Campbell or the Smithville tornado that threw a car at the water tower and left a dent in it. If I get it confused to all my viewers, please let me know and let me correct that. And I will be posting some more of these pictures on the screen right now to show you how violent the inner core of this thing was. Look at them trees right there. Look at them. There's some areas where there's no trees. There's nothing there. It's just, it reminds me what the Philadelphia F5 did with the ground scouring. And that's crazy. All three of these F5s I've told you about all occurred on the same day. And mind you, we're not even to the worst tornado. Well, in my opinion, the Hackleburg Phil Campbell tornado was the deadliest and worst one of the outbreaks. It killed the most people, but this tornado right here that I told you about and the Philadelphia one, the ground scouring and the destruction they caused to the ground, like the ground scouring with the Philadelphia one, and I'll look at that damage around the tree line with what that tornado did. It's crazy to think that that actually happened, and these three F5s occurred on the same day. But the next tornado that I'm going to be showing you is the Rainsville EF5. Yeah, a fourth F5 occurred on this day. But the Rainsville EF5 was the last F5. Mind you, a fourth one on the same day, on April 27th, along with these other three ones I showed you, that touched down on the exact same day. And it's crazy, but this thing killed 25 people. It completely removed homes off their foundations near the town or by the town of Rainsville or around it. And it killed 25 people, and it dissipated all the way in Georgia. And like I said, I want to briefly tell you guys, give you a brief, I know I've said it earlier in the video, but I want to give you like a brief explanation of these tornadoes. That way I can have my own separate, that way I can have a separate video to break them down step by step. That way I can give you a brief example of these in this video. But here's some of the damage it caused and pictures of the tornado and its aftermath. Mind you, this tornado killed 25 people and it dissipated all the way over in Georgia. But now we get on to the most infamous tornado of the entire outbreak. And as you just saw in those photos of the tornado and of the damage it caused, this tornado was rated an EF4 with wind speeds up to 190 miles per hour. It killed over 60 people, and it was on the ground for a little over an hour and a half. I believe it was an hour and 31 minutes to be exact, and it caused over $2 billion in damage all by itself. This tornado was a multi-vortex tornado, as you can see by the little multiple vortices sticking out of it, or coming out of the main tornado. It destroyed a big chunk of Tuscaloosa, and then it went on to destroy a huge chunk, I mean, not a huge chunk, but like a chunk of Birmingham, like the suburbs of Birmingham. And this tornado was, this tornado was the most widely spoken about tornado of the outbreak for multiple reasons. One, because it hit two metropolitan areas back to back. It hit Tuscaloosa, and then it went on to strike the suburbs of Birmingham. People in Tuscaloosa were expecting severe weather that day, but they weren't expecting this. There was a chance for severe weather that day, and everybody was just expecting for, just be like maybe a small tornado, maybe just some hail and high winds, and then this happened. There were apartment complexes, almost like college dorm room, like those complexes that were completely just gone, just nothing left. There's actually videos of people crawling out of the complex where they were taking shelter at, like in the basement, and there's just nothing left. Like the house that the campus gave them, or like the apartments that the college gave them, are just gone. There's just nothing left. There was actually a video, I forgot by who it's by. I'll have to see if I can look up the video, but this one guy recorded the video of him and his girlfriend underneath this house, because they were in the basement. Whenever they got out, there was two SUVs just resting by their heads, inches from their heads. As soon as they got out of the basement, just two SUVs, and their whole neighborhood was gone. And then there's let me see, that picture that I just showed you of people who were sitting in this it looks like I forgot what the term is called. I believe it's let me see. It's a strip. Yeah, it's a strip where like there's a bunch of stores and stuff like that. People were sitting at a strip, and this tornado was off in the distance, and then there's a video online of it slowly creeping, not creeping, but like slowly approaching. And then it starts going right over the store, just like the Sanford tornado, like I told you, but this time it was actually, there's footage of it like actually coming from like far away, all the way by the store to where people are parked, just filming it, and it's just picking up cars, throwing things, and they just watched as it go by. And all you can do when you see something like that is just watch. Your mind is like, wow, I can't believe I'm seeing this, but I'm terrified right now. It's like what I'm looking at is something that I probably have never seen before and never will see again. Hopefully not, but you're just looking at it thinking, man, am I really seeing this right now? Like, I'm staring directly at this monster right in front of me, watching it pick up people's houses and cars. There were I think even the Tuscaloosa hospital, or I think it was either the emergency services or the Tuscaloosa hospital that actually took a hit. So they lost the first line of defense whenever the tornado came and roared over their city. And then after it destroyed a huge chunk of Tuscaloosa, the tornado went on to strike the suburbs of Birmingham. There's actually videos of it going over apartment complexes. And all you see in the videos is just darkness. Just like the sky goes from white, or like typical, not white sky, but typical like, blue sky, normal day, to just pitch black. The tornado roared over the complexes and completely destroyed either the first few floors or completely leveled the houses that were next to them all together, all during its not a 100-mile track, like I think it was like over a 50-mile track or something around there. And like I said, it killed 63 people. It was on the ground for an hour and 31 minutes. I believe that's what they said. And it caused over $2 billion in damages. And like I said, this tornado was one of many that struck on this day. One of many. Just like those 4 F5s, this F4 was There was a bunch of more F4s that struck on this day, but there's a ton of them that I could not cover in this video because, like I said, I want to briefly summarize all of these tornadoes, and that way I can save them for a later video to better deep dive into them so I can give you a more perspective of how bad and deadly they were. But thank you for tuning into this like little mini documentary of mine about the month of April and the tornadoes that I think are the craziest that happened during that month. And I will be doing a documentary on May 2011 because May 2011 is not as crazy as this, but it's still pretty crazy about it, especially the Joplin and the El Reno EF5s. But there's a ton of tornadoes, like I said, I didn't cover in this video because, like I said, I want to save them for a separate video, especially the Cordova EF4. I think there was another EF4 that I didn't cover too. But thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And please tell everyone you know about this video. And thank you for watching. Thank you, and have a great day.